This is a case that's been bounced around back and forth throughout the court system.
And today, the Supreme Court has answered that question by a vote of 6-3.
Justice's ruling this morning, it conflicts with the Second Amendment's right to bear arms.
Everybody has a right if they're a responsible adult.
These mistakes could ruin your life. Imagine calling 911 to protect your family, only to end up in handcuffs. That's exactly what happened to John, a lawful gun owner in Texas. When he fired a warning shot to scare off an intruder, police arrived, saw no bullet wounds, and arrested him instead. Charged with deadly conduct, he spent the night in jail while the intruder walked free. In Florida, a man legally carrying a firearm was stopped for speeding. He casually mentioned having his gun in the glove box. 5 minutes later, his car was surrounded by police. He hadn't broken any law except that he said the wrong words to the wrong officer. Most gun owners think self-defense laws are simple, but today, 5 words can trigger a felony. A small mistake can cost you your license, and a wrong assumption can put you in prison. Whether you carry your firearm daily or keep it at home, you must know what not to do. In this video, we'll break down the 5 most dangerous mistakes gun owners make when dealing with police and how to avoid them. These aren't opinions. These are real scenarios pulled from court records, attorney advice, and legal training. If you value your freedom and your right to carry, stay with me until the end. And if you want real, accurate updates like this, Mistake 1. Firing a warning shot. It sounds logical. You want to stop a threat without hurting anyone. You fire a warning shot into the air or into the ground, thinking it shows restraint. But legally, it often does the opposite. In many states, warning shots are treated the same as deadly force. The law doesn't recognize intent. It only sees that you discharged a firearm, and public prosecutors may charge you with reckless endangerment, unlawful discharge, or aggravated assault. Real case. In Texas, a man was charged with deadly conduct for firing a warning shot into the air during a home invasion. Even though no one was injured and he didn't aim at anyone, the discharge alone was enough to trigger charges. Police found no evidence that the intruder had a weapon. Here's why warning shots are so risky. The bullet still has to land somewhere, which can cause injury or death. Prosecutors may argue you were out of control or escalating the situation. It removes your ability to claim you were in immediate fear for your life. Officers responding may treat you as the aggressor when they hear gunfire. What you should do instead. If deadly force is justified, the law generally expects you to aim directly at the threat. If deadly force is not justified, you should not be firing at all. There's no legal middle ground for warning shots in most jurisdictions. Always know your state's specific law, but as a rule of thumb, never fire unless you are legally justified to use lethal force. Mistake 2. Talking too much. When the police arrive, you feel the urge to explain. I didn't do anything wrong. He came at me first. I was just trying to protect my family. You want to tell your side before things spiral, but legally, talking too much, especially without a lawyer, is one of the fastest ways to get arrested. Police are trained to listen for specific phrases they can use as evidence, and in high-stress moments, your words may not come out the way you intended. Real case, a homeowner in Georgia told police, "I didn't mean to shoot him, I just wanted to scare him." That one sentence led prosecutors to argue that he didn't feel his life was in danger, making his self-defense claim crumble. He was charged with manslaughter. Here's why over-talking can hurt you. Anything you say can and will be used against you, even if it's misinterpreted. Your statements may contradict what witnesses or surveillance footage show. Officers often write summaries, not transcripts. You don't control how it's recorded. Even innocent explanations can suggest intent or premeditation. What you should do instead, provide only the most essential information: your name, identification, and that you will cooperate once your attorney is present. You can say, "I am asserting my right to remain silent until my lawyer is here." That is not suspicious, it's smart. Remember, silence can't be used against you, but a careless sentence can cost you your freedom. Mistake 3. Letting police search without a warrant. You might think, "I have nothing to hide." So when an officer asks, "Mind if I take a look?" you agree, but that simple yes just waived one of your strongest constitutional protections, the Fourth Amendment. Once you give permission, officers don't need probable cause. They can go through your car, your bags, even parts of your home, and whatever they find can be used in court, even if it's something unrelated to your original stop real case. In Missouri, an officer pulled over a man for a broken taillight. The man consented to a vehicle search. Inside a backpack, police found 2 rounds of ammunition. The man was a felon who hadn't been carrying the ammo, but now faced federal charges. Here's why voluntary searches are dangerous. You can't take it back once you say yes. officers can legally search more than you expected. If you forgot something in your car, you could face serious consequences. Even if the case is dismissed, the legal fees and arrest record can stay with you. What you should do instead: politely refuse. Say, "Officer, I do not consent to any searches." That single line preserves your rights and forces officers to follow legal procedures. Innocent people have nothing to hide, but they still have everything to protect. Mistake 4. Drawing your firearm too soon. You're in a tense situation. Someone's yelling, maybe getting aggressive. You feel threatened, so you put your hand on your firearm or even draw it, thinking it will de-escalate. But if you're not legally justified at that moment, you could be the one facing charges. Brandishing a weapon, pulling it out, or even placing your hand on it without a clear legal justification can be charged as aggravated assault in many states. Real case. In Arizona, a man drew his firearm during a road rage confrontation. No one was hurt, and no shots were fired. But the other driver called 911, claiming he was threatened. The man was arrested and charged with felony assault, even though he had a concealed carry permit. Here's what you need to know. You must be in immediate, unavoidable danger of serious bodily harm or death to justify drawing. The threat must be credible and specific, not just verbal or emotional. Witnesses may only see you with the gun. Making you look like the aggressor. Surveillance or body cam footage can be misleading without full context. What you should do instead: train yourself to assess threats quickly and legally. Your firearm is a last resort, not a tool for intimidation. Drawing early can flip the narrative and make you the criminal. Carrying a firearm means carrying responsibility. Knowing when not to draw is just as critical as knowing how to shoot. Mistake 5. Thinking self-defense laws are the same everywhere. It's a quiet night. You're traveling across state borders with your concealed carry secured and your paperwork in order. Suddenly, something happens and you're forced to defend yourself. You react quickly and lawfully, just as you were trained. But the next thing you know, you're in handcuffs. Why? Because the self-defense laws in that state are completely different than the ones back home. Here's the danger. What's legal in one state could be criminal in another. Some states offer full stand-your-ground protection. Others require you to prove you attempted to retreat before using force. In some states, your vehicle is treated like your home. In others, it's not. Even the definition of reasonable force shifts depending on where you are. Let's talk about a real example. A Pennsylvania man used his firearm to defend his family during a home invasion. While visiting relatives in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, his actions would have been entirely legal. But New Jersey's laws are far stricter, and prosecutors didn't care that he acted in self-defense. He was arrested, charged, and dragged through a legal battle that cost him over $50,000, even though the charges were eventually dropped. These are the subtle but deadly legal shifts every gun owner needs to understand. Some key variations between states include whether you are legally required to retreat before using deadly force, whether your car is considered a dwelling under castle doctrine, whether warning shots are legal or considered aggravated assault, how each state defines reasonable force in tense situations, whether your use of force is protected if you're perceived as the aggressor, what you should do instead. Before you cross any state line, study that state's firearm and self-defense laws carefully. Don't just rely on YouTube videos or hearsay from forums. Consult the actual state statutes or a qualified local attorney, and when you're uncertain, choose restraint. Never assume your home state's rules protect you elsewhere. Every state is its own legal battlefield, and one wrong assumption can leave you vulnerable in court, regardless of how justified you thought your actions were. Protect yourself before it's too late. The moment you speak to law enforcement, you're not just sharing your side of the story. You're building the case that may be used against you. And in that moment, your future, your freedom, and your firearm rights all hang in the balance. It doesn't matter how justified your actions were, how clean your record is, or how good your intentions were. If you say the wrong thing, you could lose everything. Every legal mistake we covered today came from gun owners, just like you. People who thought they were doing the right thing. But courts don't judge your intentions. They judge your words. So please take this seriously. Know your rights. Know when to speak and when to stay silent. And if you want to stay informed, protected, and prepared for what's next, we break down real laws, real rulings, and real consequences, so you don't become the next headline. This isn't about fear, it's about freedom. And freedom starts with knowing the law. Stay safe, stay smart, and I'll see you in the next video.